Hello everyone, my name is Mandeep. I work at the University of Hull in the Schools and Colleges engagement team, and as John mentioned, I'm going to be talking about preparing for university. Now when it comes to preparing for university, I've got a guide of top tips that I've put together, things that I wish that I knew before I started university. I was actually the first person in my family to go. So over the years, I've thought about all the different tips and I'd love to share them with you today. We're going to start off firstly by talking about before you go to university, what are the things you can do. So just click on the next slide here. So I'm going to talk to you through about 3 top tips before you go to university and what you can start even doing now to prepare. Some of the tips are more related to if you're in year 13, but also they will still come in handy if you are in year 12 at the moment. Please feel free to screenshot any of the slides and ask questions as well as we go along. So let's get started. Firstly, one of the reasons you go to university, one of the main reasons, is actually to study a course and do something that you're really passionate about, and you could be spending 3 to 5 years doing that course. And the first tip really is just to look at the equipment that you need. So make a list or a mind map of books, material, pen, paper, all the things you might need. Bear in mind, when you're at school and college, sometimes they provide writing pads for you, pens, but these things aren't provided at university. One thing I received before I went to uni for my birthday was a new laptop, and that was a big deal back then, but it meant that I could study on an evening in my room without having to go to the library. So just little things like that. Also, books are a really big thing as well. So before you start any module, you should get a module handbook. And in there will be a list of all the books that you might need. It might be optional or core reading. And it's a good idea just to get a sense of, which sort of text you might need. Where do you get those texts from? Could you borrow them from the library, or do you need to buy them brand new? I actually used to study law before I did English literature at Hull. So I've kind of done half of one degree and then another degree because I changed my course halfway, and it was a very different experience getting books for law because I needed the latest text with the latest law compared to English literature. And a lot of my books were either ebooks from the library or journal articles online, and also I got a lot of my books very cheap from a book sale on campus. So there's various ways to do this. And also, before you go and start your course, another way to prepare could be that you need to do an online induction to maybe create a page on the Canvas page where all of your resources will be held for your module. So it's just worth looking into all of these things. A second tip for preparing for university is getting ready for independent learning. Chances are that you'll be moving away from home for the first time ever, and you've never really lived away from your family. There are a few key things to remember when it comes to living independently. The first thing is look at your food options and really consider it carefully depending on what you are after. So if you are a person who cannot cook, maybe consider catered accommodation. Your catered accommodation will be slightly more expensive than self-catered, so they'll add the cost of that usually onto your rent. So if you go for that option, you'll have your food provided and you won't really have to worry. And you'll avoid doing what I did, where I chose self-catered, I couldn't cook, and I ended up buying so many takeaways. Not only was that really expensive, but very unhealthy as well. So maybe if you look at self-catered, realistically think you have to go out and buy your food and cook for yourself. Maybe learn your top 2 or 3 recipes from each family member and just learn the basics and learn how to freeze food and defrost food properly, because that will save you money as well in the long run. It's so important to stay healthy at university, to keep a balanced diet, because you definitely need the energy. Domestic tasks always come up in this as well in terms of living independently. So learning how to use the washing machine, what detergent to use, what fabric softener, all these little details, or how to use the Hoover properly and how to clean out the bag from a Hoover as well. You don't want to be the housemate that's the messiest out of everyone, but you'll definitely get better at all of this as well as you go through your journey at university. And socialising early is always a really big tip. And in a COVID-19 world as well, this is something that you could even be doing now. So if you're about to start university, there might be online groups set up on social media, so you can even interact with people that might be living in the same accommodation as you, or even the same flat as you in your halls of residence. Socialising early means that you can have that conversation about what you will be bringing to university. So there's no point in everyone bringing pots and pans when that might already be provided for you in your shared kitchen. So just worth having these conversations. Top tip 3 is sorting out your life admin. So life admin is a term that I use when I talk about tasks that are really kind of associated with being an adult, you know, growing up, learning how to manage your own documents and things like that. And it's definitely worth spending a bit of time preparing for this before you go to university. So things like your bank account. If you've actually applied for student finance, your maintenance loan will actually be paid directly into your bank account. And it's worth looking around different bank accounts and different types of accounts that are available for students specifically. So some banks might offer you a free overdraft. They might even offer you a free rail card for 3 years while you have a bank account with them. And with a rail card, you can not only save £100 for 3 years, but it's a great way to save money, but also if you're thinking about going to visit family and using the trains, it's a great investment to have. So definitely check out different deals from different bank accounts as well. Transferring details is also important. So I had a friend who had a job at Morrison's in a local store when she lived at home. And when she moved to university, she simply transferred her job to the university city. So she could study during the day, and then on an evening, she would work her normal shift at Morrison's just in a different city. So you don't have to start from scratch and find a new job if you've already got into a routine of working and earning and studying. But with other details as well, it's worth transferring across. So for example, transferring your doctors and so registering at a local doctor's at the university city is a good idea. So rather than waiting until you're poorly and ill and need to see a doctor, organise that in advance, and then you feel like so many of these things are already set up before you even move to university. And other important documents as well you need to consider. So for example, one of my projects at Hull is I manage the student ambassador scheme, and whenever we recruit new ambassadors and train them, we actually ask to see their documents. So we need to see their passport details, we need to see their national insurance number, because obviously you can't have paid work without these things. So maybe keep a record of these things, keep them handy so you know where they are, and if you ever ask, you can have that evidence ready. The next 3 tips are going to be focusing around when you actually arrive to university. So again, you know, this is relevant to all year groups really. It just lets you know what you need to do in order to feel prepared when you arrive. The first thing is making the most of Welcome Week. So Welcome Week is usually week 1, the first week or 2 of your time at university, where you might not have your usual lessons. It's week 0 on your academic calendar, and it's a chance to basically move into your accommodation, meet your new housemates, find out more about clubs and societies at university, how to get involved, and meet your lecturers. And the first thing is, I would say it can be quite an overwhelming experience when you've just moved away from home and you're meeting all these new people. And the trick is really be selective during the Freshers' Fair. So usually in the first week or so of university, you'll have a range of clubs and societies who will have stands scattered around campus or near the Students' Union area. And they will have current students trying to recruit new students to their society. Now, it can be quite overwhelming when you walk into a room and you've got 100 different stands there. If you know that you love cricket or you love something like horse riding, find out where they're going to be on what day and go and have a conversation with them. So be a bit selective. Think about your hobbies, what you really enjoy doing, and what you want to get involved in at university. And it kind of leads me on to my next point as well. If you're not sure, one scheme that we have at Hull is a Give It a Go scheme. And it basically means that all societies will have one free session that they put on for visitors. And if you've always wanted to try something new, this is the best time to do it. So for example, I started university and I went along to the archery Give It a Go session. And I don't know why I chose archery, just something a bit different. Although I enjoyed the session, I decided actually, it's not something that I want to continue because I wasn't really that good at it, but it was a lot of fun. And instead I joined the badminton society. So I used to play every Wednesdays. So it's a good way to test out what you enjoy and maybe what you don't enjoy as well. And my last tip in terms of Welcome Week is just bear in mind that some societies might charge you a membership fee. It could be, for example, £5 or slightly more if you join a sports team. This could be for registration fee, or it could be for insurance purposes, or it could be that you need a uniform as part of that society. So it's always handy to just keep aside some money to pay for these things, like your socials as well. My second tip in terms of what to do when you're at university is actually familiarising yourself with your new environment. And again, you know, as you go through your university journey, this will become second nature to you. But when you first start off, it can be quite scary getting to learn a new city, a new campus. My first tip is to explore the campus. And when I say this, it's not just to explore your lecture theatres and the classroom and the department that you're based in, but have a look around the university. One really good tip that my ambassadors have given is a lot of them wish they became student ambassadors in their first year, or if they do become ambassadors as soon as they start university, they receive training from us in terms of how to give a campus tour, and it opens their eyes to all the facilities available. And it's not only a great way to add skills on your CV, earn a bit of money and share information with visitors, but you feel a part of something bigger at the university because you are representing that university, and all universities will have some sort of ambassador scheme as well. Another tip is to go and explore the city that you're in. So if you're at a university that could be city centre based, you might already know a bit about the city. But if you've moved to a campus like Hull that's maybe 10 minutes away from the city centre, go and explore the shops, the museums, the tourist attractions. Like at Hull, we've got the Deep, which is this really big aquarium, and it's a great place to take your family when they come and visit you in your university city. So find out, you know, in your new local city, what's on offer for people, and you can always entertain people when they come and visit you. The other thing is you're going to have a lot of new details to remember. So this could be your new address for your accommodation. It's worth even keeping a copy or like a note of that somewhere, or whether it's your local taxi firm number, just so when you're out and about, maybe during Welcome Fest, or whether it's the first few weeks of uni, you're still finding your bearings, you've always got a number in your phone that you can call and get a taxi ride home. It's just little things like that I think can make your life a little bit easier when you start university. And my final tip when it comes to preparing for university is know how to access student support and various opportunities. So at university, there is such a wide range of support available, whether it's the accommodation service, you're looking for a house to move into with your friends, whether it's you're struggling with your student finance and managing your money, you can go and speak to a financial advisor about budgeting your money. And all of this is free and provided with your student experience. You might find that you only need to access one of the support services or none of them at all. It's not something that you have to do, it's there if you need it. For example, at Hull, we've got all of our support services in one location in the Students' Union. So find out where they are and how to access them. Also, you have additional support in your academic area. So find out if you get, for example, we get an academic support tutor, which is a lecturer in your department who's assigned to you for your 3 years during your course. And if you need an extension on an essay or further advice about, you know, feedback that you've got on an essay, they're your go-to person. So find out who these key people are. And finally, get involved. You know, universities are great ways to explore yourself, you know, what you like, who you are as a person, expand on your skill set. I already talked about becoming a student ambassador. That's a little picture of all my ambassadors before we started our summer school last year. But there are other ways to get involved. You know, you could be a course rep, you can get involved in clubs and societies, you can even work on the committee for a society, you can become the president of the hockey society if you are, you know, great at managing people and you want to build your leadership skills, your teamwork skills. These are things that will carry you through graduation, and once you graduate from university, you can show off about all of these additional skills that you collected during your time at university. I just wanted to mention something really quickly as my last slide about COVID-19, because I know like it's a very uncertain time for a lot of people. But before I end this presentation, I just wanted to say that every university will be having a different approach to COVID-19. And it's definitely worth checking out universities' websites for further details. A lot of universities will be offering virtual campus tours, virtual open days, so definitely sign up to a lot of these things. However, each university will have a different approach. So Hull are thinking of doing a blended approach to teaching and learning in the new academic year. So this will be a combination of face-to-face sessions alongside online sessions, but every university will be slightly different. So it's very hard for me to inform everyone now on what universities in general are doing, but universities will generally follow government's advice and guidance very clearly to ensure that everyone's safe and secure as well.